Howdy, Nugget Hunt here. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Classic Collections. Collection of cars, trucks and tractors, particularly tractors in my shed, including this C-6100, which is one of my pride and joys. And today I want to talk to you about a project that I'm just about to start, which will take this tractor, turn it into one that I've always wanted it to look like. Since I was a kid, I've always wanted to have a C-6100 Chamberlain tractor on dual wheels with belly tanks, and so that's what I'm going to turn this one into. I bought an old tractor, a wreck, and I'm going to take the rear wheel single wheels off this and put the jewels on it. This is so etched in my mind that years ago I built a scale model of the tractor that I'd always liked to own one day, so I'm going to endeavour to completely restore this C-6100, put the dual wheels on it, make some belly tanks and set it up the way I always thought it'd be nice. So this is a scale model that I built probably 10 or so years ago. Scale is probably 1 in 50. It's all made from wood, a few little steel parts. You can see it's got the dual wheels, belly tanks, chrome stack and the aircon on the cab. So I'm going to endeavour to turn this tractor into a replica of that model. We'll see how we go. Bit of fun. Classic Australian tractor from the late 70s, the C-6100. 6354 Perkins motor. Reliable as the day is long, uniquely Australian, made in Welshpool, Western Australia. And this was one of the last of the C-6100s. This is the C-6100 that I've bought in as a wreck. Has a good motor. It has transmission issues. We've determined that it's probably the crown wheel, because the front gearbox drives, the second gearbox drives, but there's no action at the wheel. So we think crown wheel in there has either come off or has shorn a shaft in there. We're not sure. So it's definitely, from my point of view, swap the wheels over and sell it as is. So these are the dual wheels that I'm after. That's the centre obviously, and then the outers are here. All Chamberlain made, Welshpool and Western Australia. So I'm just in the process of starting to drain the water out of these tyres so I can work on it easily, unbolt the wheels and use my telehandler to swap things over. Bit of heavy work, so it's good to have a telehandler to save the back. So this is serial number 3070 6100, and the one in the shed there is later. I think it's 5690 or something like that. Okay, I'll get on. Here we are letting the water out of the tyres, and it's getting up on the roof, so it'll top up the tank. Certainly squirts a long way. There's probably over a tonne of water in the back end, so I don't want to try and manhandle that. Okay, welcome back to the channel. The C-6100 dual wheel project. As you can see, I've taken all the wheel nuts off, the inner wheel nuts. I've left one on there just for a bit of safety. So I'm utilising the telehandler, and telehandlers are good for this sort of thing because you can stretch the boom out a bit and then use that boom retract to help take the wheel off. The reason why I've left one wheel nut on there is just to keep it all safe, and I can reach in there with my ratchet torque wrench and undo that one without being risk of crushed if that cast iron rim, which is very heavy, falls back on the telehandler. I can keep clear. So progressing along alright so far. We've taken the water out of the tyres, pushed her out here in the open so I'm not messing around in the slot. Plenty of room all around it to work, and we're going okay at this stage. So now we've got the wheel has come away from the tractor. I've put a little bit of light rope there just so it helped me control it. And now I can boom back in with the telehandler and bring the wheel towards me. Just like that. It's good when all plans come to fruition. So now I can control that tyre from falling over with that bit of light rope, and I can take it and rest it against probably container or maybe the loading ramp wall somewhere solid so that it's ready to put on the other tractor. Certainly makes light work of it using a machine like this, which is the machine we use in our earth moving business for clearing sites and pulling down old buildings or whatever. With a 4-in-1 bucket, it's very handy. So it lives here at the tractor block where I keep our tractors, and it's handy to use for fiddling around like this sort of project as well. Okay, here we are again, where I've got the other one, got the both the back wheels off. This one is causing me a bit of grief. These wheel studs are only just on there because the centre is stuck to the rim. So what I'm going to do is just go for a drive and try and get that to free up, because I've been trying to persuade it with a hammer and diesel and oil mix, and it's determined not to come. This one is the same, although I think I've soaked it all in diesel and oil, but I think it's actually loose. So I'll keep working on that other one, even though I've had the telehandler chained to the tyre and putting a bit of weight on it. Still don't want to come loose, so I'll just try for a drive around with those centre nuts loose and see how I go. Plan's all there, we'll see if it works. So just going for a drive now. I'll go across this little paddock here that was deep ripped last year, so it still has the ruts there, and travelling across the paddock just gives me that sort of motion that I'm looking for. The back wheels just to help try and free that. It'd only be rust or paint or both that's making it stick. So I'll run around out here for 5 minutes and see if I can get it to come loose. Good excuse to have a drive. Like driving these old tractors. Well, it's not that old really in the whole scheme of things. 1970, so I guess it's coming up. I think this one's 76 check my serial numbers, but either way, I guess it's coming up 50-year-old, so it is rapidly becoming an old tractor. Even though that's happened in my time, I still don't see it as an old tractor. Maybe we're all getting older, of course we are. So it's a good day to have a drive anyway. Okay, we had a bit of success. So my trick worked, going for a drive with it loosened off. Took a fair bit though. It's just seized up in there. But I got diesel and oil in on that rusty section, and with the telehandler rocking backwards and forwards with it off the ground, it come loose. So while I've got the chain on the forks, I can handle that wheel to that tractor. So that's my next step. Okay, so now I'm up to putting the first of the inner jewels on the keep tractor. Got it on the chain, so I'm just going over very slow in case it topples over, because it's heavy to one side with the cast. I'm hoping to be able to put it pretty well straight on the bolts when I get there, same as what I did with that one on the donor tractor. Very handy to have this telehandler doing this job. Got tractors everywhere here with one wheel, one rear wheel. That lot of good. But I'm well on the way now to achieving my goal. Okay, bit of a gap between when I talked to you last. We were battling to get that one off, but now it's off and on the other one. And all tractors have their wheels on. Just doing up the nuts on that one so I can have a test drive. And those ones are just sitting on there, ready to put finished off, tightened up. So had a pretty good day. Got held up a bit trying to get that one wheel off, but achieved what I set out to achieve today. So the next step will be put the dual wheels on this. Check out what she looks like. So yeah, going good. Okay, here we are now. It's I've got the singles, inner singles on this tractor. Now it's D-Day for putting the dual wheels on, and I've had a bit of trouble getting some of these studs out. Some you can see how they're a two-sided arrangement. There's a coarse thread and a fine thread. Some of these just didn't want to come undone on the coarse, on the fine thread, so I've tried heating them with the oxy, all sorts of things like that, but still no luck. So I'm just gonna go with it the way they are. So I've got the tractor sitting on some little blocks of wood parked near the jaws. I just need to start cleaning the centres down so they marry up without any rubbish in the gap there, and see how we go. Okay, we got one on. Well, make it easier with my telehandler. I suppose you're thinking by now I'd be lost without that. I probably would. It's pretty handy. The old hydraulic jack I had there, not quite doing the job, so here's the first look at my tractor with one jewel on it. That looks pretty cool. That's what I set out to achieve. Holy beauty. I just like the look of that. I'll rip the other one on, go for a drive and tighten them up. Going good. Okay. There we go. They're on there. Couple of hot days. Bit of struggling to get wheels to come off and studs to come out, which seems to be the go with the older gear. But now it's time to go for a test drive and come back and tighten them up. And then a little 3-acre paddock out there that might need cultivating, just because I can. Just love the way they look. Okay, time to take this bad boy for a drive. This paddock where I was trying to loosen those rims and just capture any play before I re-tighten them, and then she's good to go. Okay, here we are. I've got her on the cultivator. Got this big 3-acre paddock to do. Have a bit of fun checking out my new look. Amazing how different it looks, I think. So now I'll do the chrome stack next probably, and then the belly tanks, toolboxes, and decent stereo in it. Just having a bit of fun. Good day. So there you go, that's getting the jewels on the C-6100. Took those off the original and put them on there. Took the ones off of it and put them on here. Really happy, it looks good.